I'm sorry, but I need to make them very short, or else they don't charge. We were speaking about Magna Carta, and I want to tell you three fundamental elements, three things which are the constitutional ideas. First of all, we know that they all the laws could be taken just in accordance with the law. Everything which was happening, every element, every accordance had to be taken just in accordance with the law. So there had to be a law describing society and having all every element, everything in accordance with it. Then the government, and that is very important, the government, which was kingdom, had to rest upon the consent of the governed. What does it mean? The king had to be approved by people, by all the people that were governed, that it had to have the people had the right to get free elections if they didn't want to have a king. And everything had to be taken. Every decision had to be taken under the law, and so even the Human Rights Act of 1998 makes it clear that authorities can't break the laws, can't infringe the laws. Infringe means to break. So even though you are very important, even though you are an authority in your country, you can't break the law and behave as you like. You have to respect what laws tell you. Then we know that common law is made of a lot of laws which are taken and are a little by little, and situations which are observed and make sentences, make elements, make a big part of what is the history of law. So you can always, if you are a lawyer, you can always study previous sentences and find out what happened in situations which were similar to yours. For instance, in the past, if something very similar to the action you are judging happened, what did the judge decide in the past? So you can say, as they decided in the sentence between Mr. blah blah against Mr. Washington, because of the storage of something which was not in the laws, and so they decided to let him have a penalty. I appeal to your favor or against my accused person, because he needs to be punished, because he committed something which is not in the law. So it's the same. You always go back to something which happened before and in the past. That's why books are so big and libraries are so huge, because the lawyers study a lot of cases and they have a great memory, I think, a really huge and great memory, and the ability to speak and go back and take such cases in order to appeal to them. Magna Carta, however, is still very important today, and the highest court contained the most long-standing and fundamental rights. What does it mean? That though they were in the Middle Age, they had a very wide mind, because it is the most important long-standing fundamental rights, which are the rights that, first of all, the king can't be superior to the rest of the population, of the noble man, and he had to have the approval of the noble man, the noble classes, in order to have his own power. So he had to reign just after having the consent of the governed, or maybe to give out a law only if people who had to accept the law agreed, because if they didn't, they could revolt, they could rebel, and it was not something which the king liked, obviously. So it is clear, however, that even if you are important, if you are a king, you can't infringe the law. Such element was not accepted in Italy, for instance. It was not accepted even by the Pope, you know. First of all, the Pope was not in accordance to the king, and however, he didn't accept the fact that noble classes could have the same role and the same power as the king. And in fact, the Pope and Italy and Britain started to not to have a good way to be together. They were not in accordance. So I think that Magna Carta is clear, and as it is, it's clear as well what is later on. Well, it is the starting point which led later on and is nowadays the human rights charter, the Charter of the Human Rights, of the Act of the Human Rights of 1998, which states that all people are the same, they have all the same rights, they are all under the same rules, and they can't be something's happening in my mobile, and they sorry, and they can't be violated. Their freedom can't be violated. That's right, and you have to remember that Magna Carta, Magna Carta Libertatum. It's the Great Chart of Freedom. That's the name, the Great Charter of Freedom. And it's the starting point to our human rights.